So, welcome to another episode of the Marine AFC podcast. Last time we were speaking about the fixture release news, and this time we're going to go a little bit deeper into the season ahead in National League North. Now the thing is, none of us have ever lived in the National League North, so we don't actually know these teams as well as we should. Obviously we will during the season, but it's going to be fresh ground for most of us. So what we've done is, we'll talk about it in a minute, but we each picked a couple of teams that we can go a bit deeper into and why we think they're ones to watch. But generally speaking about the season ahead, and we spoke about this in the last one, would I say, am I right in saying, Stuart, that there are no easy games?
You would be right, Adam. There are no easy games.
Obviously we're going to win games, we're going to lose games, but
we'll probably draw some games as well.
Maybe we will. We didn't do a lot of that last season. But obviously Neil is trying to recruit for this next level above. He's already worked in it with at least Chester, as far as I know. So what can you expect in the new season? What's going to change for you? What's going to be the biggest challenge going up into this National League North?
For me personally, or for the club?
Let's say for the club.
Yeah, okay, for the club. I think that's more valid and relevant, really. So, I mean, obviously it is a step up. We're obviously going to be against teams we know that have got bigger budgets for players and so on. But that said, you know, we do know some of these teams. Mm-hmm. We've met them in recent times.
Beaten them.
And particularly we've met them when we were in the same league, Northern Premier League recently, and they've been promoted and we've been promoted, but also in cup competitions. So I actually put together a little list, so just to reassure people a bit, some of the teams in the National League North that we've played in recent times and our record against them. So I only went back a couple of years, there's no point going back 5-10 years. So obviously Radcliffe, who came up with us, played them obviously twice last season in the Northern Premier League. So we beat them 3-2 at home and lost 2-3 away.
Yeah.
So two close games there, and obviously they got promoted in first place. We went through in the playoffs. Spennymoor, played them last season as well in the FA Cup. So the first game, I can't remember, was the score 2-2?
Yeah, I think Mampala had a worldie.
Yeah. 2-2, yeah.
But then the replay back here at the MTA, we beat them 2-1. So again, that's reassuring. Southport, we played them in 22-23. So the previous season in the Liverpool Senior Cup, beat them 4-1. Fantastic game.
That was a good game, that.
Fantastic game.
Very loud.
Yeah, brilliant. So, that's reassuring. Warrington Town, we have to go a bit further back, but we did play them in the FA Cup second qualifying round in 21-22, and we beat them 3-0. So that's reassuring. South Shields, we were in the Northern Premier League Premier Division together season before last. We drew 1-1 at home with them, and we lost 2-1 away. But in the season before that, 21-22, we beat them in the FA Trophy on penalties. After I think it was a 0-0 draw actually. It's a good game though, good game. And then Scarborough, 22-23, we played them in the FA Trophy. Beat them in the second round, 1-0. I think you were probably at that one, Adam.
Okay, what,
Scarborough Athletic.
21-22, before me. I wasn't there.
22-23.
Oh yeah, I would have been, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's Mo Torre came on as a sub and scored the winner. So that's 6 clubs in that league that we've played in the last few seasons, and our record against them, is pretty good. And over the years when I've seen us play teams in higher leagues, in cup competitions and so on, we've always competed well. Halifax, obviously National League, beat them last season. So I think we should take that as reassuring. Now, obviously, the league matches in and out every week. There's a different sort of order to that, and you can't treat every single game like a cup game and all the rest of it. But I do think it's reassuring that we know some of these clubs already. We played them in recent times and we've got a decent record.
That's good. I assume some of those were when we might have been in the NPL West as well, so there might have been an even bigger chasm between the two teams as well.
Yeah, I think when we were in the NPL West, for example, playing Warrington Town, They were then in the NPL Premier, so they were one above, but we've both moved up, but they moved up quicker than us.
Good. Tom, what are you most excited about the new season, given the fact that we're in a new league?
There's big games in every month. I think that, Scunthorpe away is a big one that stands out. The Southport games, Chester on Boxing Day. I'm looking forward to Radcliffe as well, though. I think they came first, as Stuart just mentioned, last season in the Premier Division, and obviously the Finn transfer. I'm interested to see how the atmosphere is for both of those games. I feel like there's a bit of not a stale, not a proper rivalry, but I feel like there's one brewing. So I want to see what those games are like. When they come around. But yeah, like I said, the Scunthorpes, the local derbies, and then the Radcliffe. I'm looking forward to those games. But overall, the whole season looks very exciting.
You looking forward to longer coach trips?
Longer coach trips, yeah. We've done a fair few. They weren't that bad. I think there'll be a lot more overnights.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to do at least one of them. I don't know if I'll be available. I might be either in uni or work, because the coaches usually leave in the afternoon, don't they? So
just a social butterfly, aren't you, Tom?
Yeah.
How many games are you missing so far, Tom?
I think there's 3.
Why are you missing those games, Tom?
Got a pantomime. Pantomime and a few gigs, haven't I? But obviously they were all booked before these fixtures came out.
We'll still be here when you get back, Tom.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no. Overall, really looking forward to the season. Going to new places, and yeah, looking forward to it.
It's not just new places though. We've got new people, and one's here right now with Ben. Welcome to the team.
Yeah,
thanks. You've been on plenty of away days with Marine on the fans coach, which I think only a select few of us have witnessed. But now that you're going to be on the team coach, what are you excited for, either personally or for the team for the season ahead?
I think just getting involved with more of the media team, and obviously playing a team like Scunthorpe, imagine their media areas can be really good, good standard. And I think just
if they let us in it, they might not let us in. That's happened before.
Yeah, visiting new grounds is probably a big highlight as well.
Yeah,
not just for us, but visiting travel Marine fans as well.
Yeah,
and another thing as well, just seeing how competitive we are in the league.
I mean, that's the key thing. I think that's going to be the most exciting thing, which is what Stuart alluded to, is can we compete with these teams? And I'm sure we can. We just need to believe, trust the process.
Neil Young he's proven himself in this division before. I think Marine are just going to be solid. I think they're going to be solid in this division. Neil Young's proven it, and he's a brilliant manager who knows what he's doing. And we just have to get behind him and trust him and the team he's built.
Is that because you trust him, or because you're your best mate, because he complimented your shoes?
Because we have the same shoes. So. But no, I think we just need to trust Neil.
Trust Neil.
It's not really new, but there's a few additions to the team, but I think it's going to help that a lot of them have stayed. Shame to see some of the big names like Sol go, but that was expected. But I think the new additions are going to bring something to the team, and just got to get behind them and trust Neil like we always do, and we will continue to do that. Yeah,
well, seeing as Tom alluded to it, I've just brought up a list of not all the new signings, but some. So there's Jack Goodwin from Prescott Cables. Now, he was unfortunately one that I didn't see last season because I missed the game, but you were raving about him when you saw him.
We were the reason he scored.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we were the first to spot how good he was. Definitely is.
Really good player. Really good player.
Yeah, me and Ben saw him at Vauxhall, and he was sharp then as well.
Really quick.
Yeah. And then we've also got Adam Thomas, we've got Callum Murphy, and then we've got Lee Whelan and Alex McNally, who I believe is also from Prescott, so I think we've done a double swoop on them. And we've got some returnees, so we've got Luke Hutchinson back.
That's great news. Getting Luke back.
We'll get into goalkeepers near the end, but we obviously had a cycle of goalkeepers last season, and Luke was among them, and every goalkeeper we had last season was fantastic. They all had their different styles, but they all had to eventually leave due to different reasons. But I personally am made up that he's back. I don't know. I hope you guys feel the same way.
He was great. He was. Was he my favourite? I can't remember. I don't want to pick a favourite, but he was really good. I remember some of the performances he pulled off. I think the famous one was here. I can't remember who it was. Was it Ashton? Who was it when he?
There was a couple of games
remember.
where he turned.
But he was just
superstar.
Wow, one Marine or saved the point. Can't remember exactly, but some of the saves he pulled off were really good, and yeah, great to have him back. It was sad when he went because it was just out of nowhere. Really, Bolton grabbed him back for the remainder of the season.
He tended to stay in his goal a bit more, unlike one other keeper, which was reassuring.
Yeah.
I remember when he started.
Shots fired.
Didn't come chasing out after every ball. No, I'm just saying it was a relative advantage.
I loved all of them equally, and despite their different styles, just so they're welcome back with open arms, safe arms. He's not the only one, so there's people who technically left and came back. Off the top of my head, we've got Scott Butler, who's, I mean, when he came in, it was amazing. He was just fantastic every game. And then we've got the dramatic return of Finn, who I think left for 2 weeks, and now he's back, and things are rosy all again. And I saw him last week, and he was made up to be back. I think he just had a little minor injury, but he's been training this week, and I should expect to see him playing in the friendlies that we're about to see, but you would have obviously seen by now as a listener. And Neil did say he's going to keep adding to the squad. I don't know if people are aware, but we are still going to have 5 subs on the subs bench, but we can use all 5. So that's one of the changes.
Neil will love that.
I don't think we've mentioned our man from Warrington Rylands, have we?
No, go for it.
The other Butler in defence. I've forgotten his first name.
Scott Butler.
So
No, not Scott Butler.
We're that
James
rich.
Butler, yeah.
We're that rich. We've got 2 Butlers.
Got 2, absolutely. What a line. But what a player. And just watching him again in that friendly Vauxhall Motors, I mean, just the positioning, just always in the right place. The way he organises the rest of the defence and even the defensive midfielders. Just a player of real quality. And obviously when we played Rylands in the playoff semi-final, that was really, really evident just how good he is. Another great signing.
Yeah, brilliant signing. Saw him twice last season, or 3 times last season actually, so yeah, because of the playoff. And yeah, he was brilliant every game, very organised, like Stuart said. And yeah, great defender.
Yeah. Ben, is there anyone that we haven't already mentioned that you're going to miss that have left the club? Because we need to give thanks to these people as well.
Probably Freddie Sass's long throws, probably.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember where all these players have ended up. So is Freddie Sass, is that Kings Lynn or am I wrong?
No, he went to Kings Lynn, that's right.
Yeah.
So we're going to see all these players that have left. More than likely we're going to see them back at the MTA this season, albeit under a different club. So off the top of my head is Bainbridge Chester.
Correct, I think that's right.
And we got Sass Kings Lynn. Now I got Mampala wrong when I last spoke to Ben. Farsley Celtic is where Mampala's ended up.
Which is local, right? It's somewhere near Leeds.
I think it's like 60 miles away. If you would
Local
call that
for him.
local. Oh, for him, yeah, he loves it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He lives in Leeds and he loves it. Who else have we've got Sol, who, unless we get in the FA Cup, we're not going to see.
Josh Wardle.
Wardle. So Finn came back, but he didn't bring Josh with him.
No.
Could still happen.
So that was the biggest shock to fans. I think from when I saw on Twitter, they were all very surprised that he'd gone. Obviously, the captain gone to Radcliffe. To say he won't be a miss is a bit stupid, really, because I think he is going to be a miss. But I think we do have a really good
replacement
in James Butler. Yep. So, but yeah, he'll be a miss. But Neil's got the replacement.
Yeah, hopefully players always leave on good terms with clubs, because you never know what's going to happen in this crazy world of non-league. And yeah, definitely going to miss the likes of Josh. We're all going to see this is being recorded on the Thursday, the day before Ashton friendly, but we're also going to see an old player tomorrow, if anyone knows this already.
Darius Osai, isn't it? Yeah.
And Louis White has joined Ashton United.
Oh, okay.
So good old Louis, who got us through the FA Cup and against Halifax. We'll see him tomorrow, if anyone's coming to or / been to that game as this is coming out. So yeah, we're going to see a lot of old friends during the league, and we wish them all well. But we're going to talk maybe a little bit about certain teams that we've all had a little bit of research on. So I'll start with what I want to pick out is 2 teams that have recently been promoted, because obviously Marine are in the same boat and we want to try and achieve what they've done. So talk about Warrington Town for a little bit, and if anyone wants to jump in, if they've got any more knowledge, feel free. But last season in the North, Warrington Town finished 12th, which is basically mid-table in the debut season, I believe, and they were promoted via the playoffs, as we have just done from the NPL. Like us, Northwest team, they've got to fight with similar clubs close by to get players such as Rylands, Southport, the Chesters, and hopefully we will be doing the same as what they've done, which has risen their attendances by a third since they left the NPL and went into the North. So they had about average attendances of under 1,000, and they've jumped up to 1,200, and hopefully we can have similar crowds. Last season they had a poor home record, but they had an amazing away record. They were 5th in the league for away wins. Has anyone got anything extra you want to talk about Warrington Town, or have any knowledge?
Well, Warrington Town, that was a case where they got promoted, but it was kind of contingent on making ground improvements, right? So they given a list of things that they had to get fixed in the ground, and I think it was a bit, close. It was a bit close. So I think they made it. Obviously, they're still in the league, but certainly there was talk last winter of how close that was going to be and whether they were going to get it completed. And I don't know if it was a scheduling problem with construction firms or whatever, or whether it was just they didn't have the money. But eventually it got done. As far as I understand, and I've been given multiple reassurances and I've heard it multiple times, our ground is absolutely fine.
Tip top, people.
There's no improvements we have to make in order to be in the National League North, but we're making some anyway. So, and we've been told that they might be ready in time for the new season. But yeah, obviously Warrington Town last season, I think that was a bit of an issue for them, but they're through that, and hopefully when we go and visit, we'll see this magnificent ground.
Yeah, that's the pinnacle of
all
the
this
North.
Money they've spent on it.
Players that will be playing in this amazing new ground would be the retained Player of the Year and their Fans Player of the Year, Connor Woods and Dan Atherton. Someone who's come back to Warrington this season is Bohan Dixon, who we saw at Macclesfield last season. He's formerly helped Warrington with 2 promotions in the past, and now he's back. But their skipper, Josh Amos, is currently injured. Won't be back for a few weeks. A major departure was Isaac Buckley-Ricketts. He was their goal scorer. He's gone to neighbouring Curzon Athletics, and as Stuart points out on my notes, the ground improvements just in the nick of time. I think they were waiting possibly for FA funding, which came at the 11th hour, which is unfortunate, but I think they did do what they needed to do. I checked some predictions from fans, and people seem to think they're going to be around the same area, which is around mid-table, which is what we could all hope to achieve. Tom, do you want to go next with one of your teams that you've wants to focus on?
Yeah, I think a lot of Marine fans have got their eye on the Radcliffe. Obviously, they won the league. They were clearly the better team in the division last year and deserved to go up in first place. But both games, I think, like with Warrington, I think they're going to be in and around that mid-table area with hopefully Marine as well. But yeah, both the games were really exciting. Probably one of the most, if not the most exciting games we saw all last season. 3-2s, both of them, and Marine put up a fight against them, and when obviously they were the best team in the league, and fans will be keeping their eyes peeled for those fixtures.
Yeah, I think I might be wrong, but I think in the season before that, I think we played them 4 times. I feel like we played them in both the FA Cup and the FA Trophy, and there might have been a replay in there as well. So we've definitely played them enough times, and
yeah.
They're not going away.
Yeah, it's a team that will be obviously well known. Haven't been in the same division, and yeah, as you said, played a lot over the last year or 2 or 3. Obviously Josh Wardle's gone, Finn did go, but he's back. So there's those players going to Radcliffe, so fans will be keen to see them return to the MTA.
Hopefully it's drier when we go there.
Yeah,
because that was, you were there as well, Ben, weren't you?
Yeah.
I think everyone was there. It should have been called off.
Yeah.
But we will lose
in the end. But yeah,
should have called it off when we were drawing. But once we were losing, that was definitely a bit.
Were we drawing at any stage?
Yeah, when it started.
Oh, okay.
That's
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Went 1-0.
Yeah,
that's true.
In front of us. Yeah.
Finn, pretty sure.
You reckon it was a Finn?
Or Robinson.
Ah,
Finn
okay.
scored later on, didn't he?
Yeah, you're right. It's Radcliffe, just like us. It's going to be a mystery where they end up.
Yeah.
When you first said it, I was thinking they were going to be vying for playoffs, but we can't tell because we don't know the strength of these other teams, so we'd be just guessing.
It's just the familiarity with Radcliffe.
Yeah.
Will and Thompson, Josh Ward will be in there. I think Marine fans will be keen to see where they are on the calendar. Obviously, we never know, but you know what I mean.
I think Josh Ward's got number 16, so I don't think they love him as much as we did. That allegedly.
He's going to come and score a last minute winner.
Maybe.
And shush you.
Well, yeah, shush me. Yeah.
Shush you. Yeah.
What have you got, Stu?
Right, well, the first of my two I've picked is Oxford City, which of course is the first game of the season in the league for us at home, 10th of August. And a few things intriguing about Oxford City. So first of all, they've just been relegated from the National League. So they're a team coming down, we're a team going up. So, I like to think we've got momentum, and maybe they've got the opposite. Who knows? They might be in a spot of bother. So they finished bottom of the National League. They only got 33 points. They lost 29 out of their 46 games, goal difference of -40, 21 points adrift of safety. Their average attendance last season in the National League was 943, which is significantly below our average attendance last season in the Northern Premier League. Those attendances were really boosted by some big travelling support from away fans as well. Last game of the season they only had 441, so by that stage they'd clearly gone down already. So what sort of state they're in we don't know. We'll have to see. Also for me, this is where the National League North actually borders on to the part of the country that I'm originally from, which is down south. So being my hometown club is Swindon, and of course Swindon, one of their great rivals over the years has been Oxford United. So this is not Oxford United, but it's Oxford City. There's a certain irony that we're facing them as Marine. It's a club with a very long history, established 1884. Now here's the thing. Who do you think they were managed by 1980 to 81? Oxford City.
Rod Hull.
And Emu. I'm looking for the assistant manager as well. No. I wonder if anybody out there listening can guess.
You give him 2 seconds.
Who Oxford City were managed by in 1980 to 81? Well, incredibly, it was Bobby Moore, the captain of the England World Cup winning team. Was manager of Oxford City, and his assistant was none other than Harry Redknapp.
King of the Jungle.
Amazing stuff. They're a club that's had some great FA Cup runs in 2017, 2018. They got to the second round in 2017-18 after beating Colchester away in round 1. Who else did that in recent years? What non-league
Did we
club?
do it?
Correct. So we did that in 2021. So we've got something in common there. So it's the first game of the season at home, 10th of August, and then we are away there on the 4th of January. Looking forward to that, and I think that'll be an intriguing first game for us.
You're going to go down early just to see friends and
rivals?
Do.
Yeah, might do. That's it. Pretty close to my original home. Yeah. Looking forward to the trip.
Good stuff. Definitely interesting being the opening game. It's like you said, that they've come down, so there's no way we can expect, like the likes of Bradford Park Avenue came down, and we assumed they were going to be much tougher, and they literally went down again, like back to back. So you never know what, like you said about momentum, you never know what kind of, whether they're feeling full of revenge or whether they've lost the spirit. We hope it's the latter, because we obviously want to beat them.
It could just be a club whose natural level is National League North, and they could just settle there and be totally comfortable. You never know. Or it could be a club that's hit a bad patch and is in difficult times. But we will get a sense of that on the 10th of August, won't we?
Yeah. Tickets available now, people. What have you got, Ben? Who have you decided to go after?
So one of Neil Young's former teams, Chester FC. So expected to probably finish higher up.
Yeah.
Probably competing for playoffs, which they actually fell out of. So in their last 6, they only won 2.
What was that? Sorry.
So in their last 6 games this season, they only won 2.
Okay, they went on
ended up finishing 10th.
Yeah, I think they went on a really bad run. I think because we talk about the results at the end of Marine games. I'm sure they were. I want to say they were drawing loads of games last season, but yeah, that's quite bad. What else have you got?
So they were actually basically wound up in 2010 and then dropped to the league we've just been promoted from, Northern Premier.
Is that how far they went down?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And then I think pretty much got promoted back that season.
Was Neil? I can't remember. Was Neil in charge of that?
Yeah,
revival.
Yeah.
Good old Neil, eh?
Yeah, what a job.
what an angel. So yeah, Chester.
So quiz question.
Go for it.
In what country is Chester's ground?
I'm going to say England, Stu, but I feel like it's a
I mean, you'd feel like it should be, right?
Yeah. I'm obviously right. So.
Well, you're half right.
Oh.
No, go on, Tom, go on.
I saw something in the news in lockdown that it wasn't in England, so I'll let you explain.
Well, yeah, so when you enter the ground, the clubhouse and so on, that is in England. But when you go through the turnstiles and arrive pitch side, you are actually in Wales at Chester FC. So the reason it was in the news during COVID lockdowns is, of course, there were slightly different COVID laws in England and in Wales, and you weren't actually allowed to attend sports fixtures in Wales at the time when you could in England. So the club got in a spot of bother. I don't know what happened about it, but it was pointed out that actually they shouldn't be letting fans into the ground to watch the games because the ground was actually in Wales and not in England. So there you go.
Sounds like red tape. Sounds too political for me, Stuart.
Well, there is a border and there is a different government on the other side of the border. So, there you go.
Leaks about borders.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good fact.
So Stuart, when we go there and when we're sat watching the game, we will be in Wales.
Okay.
So, bear that in mind.
And that's the closest we're going to get to a different... Hereford's fairly close, am I right, to Wales, but not entirely?
Yeah, it's pretty close to the border, but it's definitely in England, all of it.
Okay, so this is the first time for a few years, apart from maybe when Ben said Chester came down, that we've actually gone to a different country.
I think it probably is.
Okay, good to know. Another team that I want to talk about is the other team that got promoted a couple of years ago, South Shields. They're in a much better place. They were the Radcliffe of their time a couple of years ago. They won the MPL. But last season they missed the playoffs by 1 point last season, which is obviously quite devastating. The away form is what let them down. One of their players is one of the players of the season in the entire Vanarama system. That was Paul Blackett. He scored 30 goals in 44 appearances, and he is still with them now. So that's definitely a danger man. He hasn't been... I think the manager was saying he is not going anywhere, as opposed to being picked by the EPL. But for now, he is there, so he is going to be seeing us. I think it's is that the first month that we see South Shields, or have I gone completely mad?
Oh, I'm not
when
sure
is South
about that.
Shields? I wasn't prepared for that. Oh, we don't see him for a while, actually.
No, I think you're right.
21st.
Oh, he'll be gone by. He'll be gone by then.
It's that away fixture in late December that I mentioned before.
Don't worry about
Like
it.
pantomime.
Like your pantomime, they have really good attendances. They got over 2,000 people that regularly go to South Shields. I think they were like that when we were playing them. But you do have to pay a bit more. So it's £300 for a season ticket, and that's standing in South Shields. So it's very...
Pay more for a seat.
You have to pay more. Yeah, you have to pay more for a seat. Not here. Get all the seats you want, and we put
As long as
more
you
in.
arrive early enough. Arrive early for a seat.
Arrive early for Disco Stu's playlist. And their fans, surprisingly, are putting them a lot further down than what they were last season. They're predicting mid-table as well, similar to Warrington Town, but I can't believe that. I believe they're going to be well in the mix, along with the Chesters and the Scunthorpes and possibly the Darlingtons if they've got the budgets. But again, we're not that familiar with National League North as we want to be, so even though these teams sound big, like Scarborough's, Darlington, Scunthorpes, we don't know what their situations are. But yeah, that's another team we should be looking out for. Obviously, like Ben said, the Chesters, the Southports, they're going to be the really tasty ones. We've got a bit more knowledge of what's been going on with Chester and Southport, but yeah, those are some teams that we've been wanting to keep an eye out for. And also,
I've got one more.
You've got one more?
Yeah.
Well, let's go to that first before we go to Neil Young. Neil Young, stay there. We've got to go to Stuart first.
Absolutely, because I want to talk about Hereford.
What about Hereford? Tell us
Hereford
about Hereford.
FC.
There can't be nothing exciting about Hereford.
Oh, there is. Oh, goodness me. Right, so we are playing Hereford. I'm looking forward to that one. Away on the 9th of November and then at home on the 1st of March. Now, Hereford FC is actually a Phoenix club. I didn't know that till I looked into it, actually. So Hereford United folded around about 2014, and then Hereford FC was created. They started in step 5 of the non-league system, so the 9th tier of football. They're at the same ground that Hereford United were at, which is Edgar Street. Now, of course, Edgar Street is iconic.
Is it?
And I'm so excited about going to Edgar Street. So that was the ground where the old Hereford United, beat Newcastle United in the FA Cup 3rd round in 1972. And everybody must know that, surely.
I never stopped thinking about it.
Oh, I mean, it's that goal, that absolute screamer from Ronnie Radford, which I think was the equaliser. It wasn't the winning goal. It's got the iconic commentary from John Motson, the commentary that actually made John Motson famous. It brought him to the attention of his bosses at the BBC. Sadly, both Ronnie Radford, the goal scorer, and John Motson, the commentator, they both died quite recently in 2022-23. If the listeners, if you've never seen that goal, Google it, find it on YouTube. Ronnie Radford, Hereford, Newcastle.
Tremendous spirit in this Hereford side. They're not giving this up by any means. Radford. Now Tudor's gone down for Newcastle. Radford again. Oh, what a goal! What a goal! Radford the scorer. Ronnie Radford. And the crowd are invading the pitch. And now it will take some time to clear the field. What a tremendous shot by Radford. He got that ball back and hit it from well outside the penalty area, and no goalkeeper in the world would have stopped that. It barely flew into the top corner of the...
So the goal is incredible. It's one of those terrible 1970s pitches, really just muddy and just terrible. The goal gun goes in, and then all the crowd run onto the pitch because it's a non-league game. We've got loads of kids, and they're all running on in their green 1970s Parkers. It's just absolutely glorious. They've come back from that. As I said, that club folded. It's a Phoenix team. The new Phoenix team, they got promoted really rapidly up until 2018-19 when they arrived in the National League North. So they've been in the National League North since 2018-19. Generally finished kind of mid-table. Don't know if they just feel that's the level they need to settle at, or whether they've got ambitions to go higher. 11th last season, 69 points, 6 points off the playoffs. Decent attendances, as you'd imagine, for a club with that kind of pedigree. 2,600 average, second highest in the league. So, I think that could be, again, a great day out. Iconic stadium, big crowd. Hopefully we get a lot of Marine fans going down there. So I'm really, really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, you're busy that day, aren't you, Sam?
No, definitely not.
No pantomimes that day.
No. I hope I'm not busy that day.
Well, yeah, thank you everyone for those team lookouts. We've also got a interview that our media guy Tom Clark did with Neil Young. So here is that interview now.
Neil, great to speak to you. The team have been back in training for a couple of weeks now. How have you found pre-season so far?
Pre-season's been good. Obviously a lot of change from last year. I think we've had 5 sessions now, 1 game. Lads are working really hard, great attitude, as you would expect. But yeah, pre-season's pre-season. We had a good session down the beach, which is different. But generally, yeah, it's been good. Lads have worked really hard.
Just away on the playoff final win at Macclesfield, you've had some big moments in your time in charge at Marine, some of the biggest in the club's history. How does that rank in terms of your managerial career so far?
I think it has to be up there, for the achievements. People talk about budgets, etc. I don't really get too involved in that, but to compete at the level and to finish 3rd in the league, I thought was a great achievement from the lads. But then to beat Rylands, who were a very good side here, and then the ultimate to go away and win at Macclesfield. They were obviously the heavy favourites on the day, big crowd on, proper game of football. It's up there, and I think it's like everything, isn't it? You're in the game to have special moments and memories for everyone, not just the team and the players and staff, but the supporters as well. And Macclesfield go a long way, I think, in people's memories.
It's an important pre-season this year as we prepare for the step up to the National League North. How are you approaching it compared to the other pre-seasons you've managed in your career so far?
It's tough. We all want promotions, and we all after promotions from a fan's perspective and a club perspective. I think from my perspective it's another headache, if I'm honest. From a managerial side, it's another step for us when we haven't really grown into the step that we've taken in terms of to have another promotion so soon. You never got promotions back, don't get me wrong, but it's another chance to hopefully develop players, but that development becomes less because you're in a much tougher league. And I know people say, well, we've got a record of beating teams at this level and the level above, but they're in one-off games. It's a lot different when you got to do it week in, week out. So we must try and have a much stronger squad of players if we can. That's quite difficult because we're up against some big powerhouses of football clubs, both from a facilities perspective and from a financial resource perspective. And if they haven't got one, they've usually got the other. So it's been difficult to recruit. I think Adam Thomas is the only one we potentially signed from the league that we're going into. Our recruitment, as it has done in the past, has always been from lower down in the main, or from Wales, or from areas where maybe other clubs aren't looking, and we give young lads opportunities. And I think that's why we lost a lot of players in the summer for various reasons. But overall, it's an opportunity. I've managed in the league before, obviously. I've won it with Chester. It's a tough league, but you've gone to some proper football grounds, some ex-football league grounds, and Scunthorpe United's second game of the season is a prime example of that. But we've still got, we still need to bring in 5 or 6 players before we're ready for the August the 10th.
We've got 4 pre-season friendlies remaining. Haven't played one on Saturday already. What are you hoping to see from your squad in those games?
Yeah, we need to try and organise another one. The Prescott game being off has not been, obviously, it can't be helped, but from our preparation perspective, I thought we were one friendly probably short anyway. That was one of the issues with the playoffs, because the playoffs meant the season dragged on a bit longer. Normally we would play 2 or 3 teams out the National League North. Obviously we can't do that because we're now in that. So yeah, trying to look at trialists and trying to get the lads that we already have signed enough minutes into the body to be ready for when we start is the conundrum at the moment. So we are trying to arrange another friendly for next week if we can. But the key thing is get minutes into people's legs, see what I want to see. And as I say, we've got areas that we need to fill and give us more strength, so we need to try and do that.
Despite losing some key players, we've retained some massive ones as well and managed to get Finn Sinclair-Smith back to Marine. How important was keeping some of that promotion squad together?
I think it's always, if you can get continuity, it's always the best way to go. It's getting the balance right between continuity and the new league, you know what I mean, and the expectation, because for all that we've achieved in the last 3 or 4 years, I'm sure if we lose the first 6 games, I'll be out of my depth and won't know what I'm doing and all those good things. That's the beauty about football management, isn't it? You're only a hero for a couple of months, and then once it starts again, you're being judged again. And I think you have to see that in the Euros that we've just watched. So from my perspective, it's just making sure that we keep a level head and we make sure that we're ready for what's coming.
Looking ahead to the season, then, we learned about fixtures last week. Which particular games are you looking forward to?
I think it's a really exciting league. From a club perspective, from a supporters perspective, obviously, Scunthorpe early doors, away from home. My first game as a National League North manager for Chester was Oxford City away. This time it's Oxford City at home. I hope the weather's the same, because on that day it was roasting and we haven't had any decent weather so far this year. Obviously going back to Chester, I've not been back there when there's been supporters since I left there in 2014. Obviously we went there in the FA Cup run that we had and we won the penalty James Barragan, but I've not been back since. So I think they're the key ones, but there's lots lots of exciting games, lots of good games in that division, lots of big clubs I've played against before, clubs I've not played against before, that I've not come up against. So it'll be nice I like to see new grounds, you know, so that'll be an opportunity to do that.
What are your targets for the team then, heading into the new season?
Don't really have targets, really. The target for anything is to be the best we possibly can and achieve the most we possibly can. But that'll be down to recruitment. You know, it's well known that I think we've got the best out of whatever group of players we've had. You know, since we've been here, particularly from 2020-21 onwards. And we've got to do that with the group that we're currently assembling. That will take a bit of time, as I say. If you look at us, we're quite young in the main. We've got 3 or 4 older players or senior players. Senior players for us is 23, 24 now. So yeah, it's about, we've got to get that recruitment right. It's difficult at the moment. We do need to add, as I say, probably 5 or 6 bodies to the squad. That will probably be right up to the opening day of the season. So that'll continue. That's what's, I can't say worrying me. It's not worrying me, but you know that's the challenge we've got at the moment. But we've assembled squads before, in every league that we've been in, and we'll continue to do that. And I've got every faith the young lads that we brought into the squad will perform. Just
finally then, we've sold more than 350 season tickets already, and our initial kit supply sold out in 2 days. How much does it mean for you to be guiding Marine forward at a time like this for the club? Yeah, it's exciting. You know, as I say, when I came into the club, I think we've been fighting off relegation for 7 or 8 years and ultimately got relegated. Playing in front of 300, 350 people, not really many going away, and now we're looking at 15, 1600 people. We've been in the FA Cup third round, first round. We've had 2 promotions, fan base is well behind us. As you say, new kit supplier, they're flying off the shelves. So it's all exciting times, but as I said earlier, unfortunately in the world we live in now, football's about winning games, and that excitement, you know, can quickly turn if we get into a position where we're not winning football matches. So from my perspective, my only focus at the moment is building a squad that I believe is capable to compete at this level, because this level is a real tough level. Again, going back to what I said earlier, it's okay beating these teams once or twice in a cup competition, doing it week in, week out. You've got to have a strong squad to be able to do that. We're building that. We're 2/3 of the way there. You know, that final third is going to be really important to see how well we compete once the season comes around in a few weeks' time.
And we're back. So, anyone got anything they want to add about the fixtures and the season ahead, or anything personally that they're interested in? Or obviously this is our sophomore year for most of us in the Team Marine media. What you're looking to improve upon or reduce this season, Stu?
I'm just looking forward to getting started again.
Yeah.
And I assume that we're going to have slightly bigger crowds than last season. I hope so.
I think it's just the way we've moved up. I think you have to expect that, even if it was just from visiting fans.
Yeah, so I do like it when the stadium's full or approaching full, like that.
They'll never be full, Stu. Never be full. Never be to capacity.
So that'd be great. Looking forward to all of that, and obviously new clubs. So new dates for games, so lots of new playlists I can invent around different themes. Haven't really thought of any of them yet, but I will do as the season goes
Welsh, on. English thing
with Chester.
Yeah,
I probably won't play up the Welsh thing too much about Chester, but yeah, could do.
And what about you, Tom? I might be wrong, but you're nearing the end of your media course in uni. So how does this work? How does the Marine job volunteering work into your final years at the uni?
So there's a module which is basically careers, where you get a bit of experience in the actual field of either media or classic journalism, and thankfully Marine is on my doorstep, so gotta go as much as possible, get as much, just give everything a go, enjoy it. And really looking forward to it, Stuart.
Ben, you're just finishing GCSEs, is that right?
Yeah.
So are you looking to do the same course as Tom and Kev, or have you got a different plan?
I'm not too sure, so I'm doing KGV, college.
Oh yeah, so it's the world's your oyster then.
Yeah.
You might just skip all this Tom and Kev stuff and just get straight in. Like you got the job now, so don't have to worry about university tuition fees and the like. Just do it. So, Stuart, am I right in saying that you want to do like a future episode on sort of how to get into sports media in terms of a non-league club?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So one of the things I was thinking about is when all of us started doing this, we kind of didn't know what we were doing, really,
Nope,
did we? We
still
were
don't.
just finding our way. There isn't really a manual you can buy or anything. There isn't really anything online about what you're meant to do. So, given that we've got a bit of experience now, I thought we could just put our heads together and put something together, about our experience, but hopefully just useful to anybody out there who's starting in similar roles. How do you do a match report? Any tips for doing stadium announcing, doing commentary? Just sharing our experiences, what we've learned, what we do again, what we do differently, all the rest of it, and hopefully it'll be useful to some people out there who are just starting out.
Yeah, if you're listening on Spotify or YouTube, you can definitely leave a comment. I know you can for sure on both of those platforms, and you could ask us a question specifically about media if you want to, and then Stuart can include it in that podcast, or you can just ask us anything in general, really. But before we go, has anyone got any other business before I bring up my business at the end? Has anyone got anything they want to add related to this or anything else to do with Marine? Do you want to say first?
Well, this sounds ominous.
It
What's
is
coming up?
ominous.
Yeah.
Now, Stuart, if you were the editor, you might want to put some like sad, tinkly music over this bit.
Oh dear.
So look for non-copyright music, Stu, and hopefully by the time I start talking now, some music's about to come out in the background. So no one knows this yet. On the last podcast, myself and Stu talked to James Leary about last season, and that we didn't have a named goalkeeper until the eve of the season. Do you remember this, Stu?
Well, I don't recall us saying it was the eve of the season, but I do recall us saying it was quite late.
It was quite late. So someone got in touch with us, guys. A certain player by the name of Richard Charles William, the Cat, Calderoy.
Well, of course. And he's quite right to point that out.
He is quite right. He's got a bone to pick with us, specifically me. So Cat was of course in the squad during pre-season last year, as he is now, and he had a great run, deputising when required with a few clean sheets along the way. We definitely saw him come on when the likes of Goddard and I think Hutchinson got injured on one of the away games, and he was there during pre-season, and I think he was at the Mask game. I think Goddard got took off during Mask away.
Well, somebody certainly came on, so it would have been him, wouldn't
Yeah.
it? Yep, no, absolutely right.
So, and he sent me a video of himself reacting to the podcast in the car as it happened, and I'll have to say I didn't watch it for 2 days because I was so scared of watching it. But when I did, you should have seen him.
No, well, he's absolutely right. So he was on the books.
He's on the books.
Absolutely.
So,
And he still is.
Yeah, and
Which is great.
I've saw him twice since then, and I can see the pain in his eyes. So I just want to say,
And I would also add that,
Yeah.
when I did the players playlist, one of the themed playlists when the players got to choose the music, then he definitely chose among the best music. So he's got really among the best music taste, which I'm very grateful for, because there were some stinkers in that playlist, but not from our man, the Cat.
yeah. So you know which players you are who gave those terrible music choices, but Rich was not one of them. So from Stuart and especially me, we are very sorry. We love you very much, Rich, and we're glad you're back. So that is the end of the business. That is my apology to Rich. I hope he forgives me. I hate that video, but I do watch it on occasion just to make myself feel bad. So that is the apology.
I'll give him another song request. That'll make
There you
it
go.
all good again.
It's all worth it now. All those hundreds of listeners will forget what we said. So thank you very much for that, and have a good night, people.